Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. As usual, I'm your host, Dr. Shah Siddiqui. I have a special guest, as you know, and I will introduce him in a minute. So, we are doing this webinar from Zenzi Marketing, and every week we invite new speakers with us, and we talk about individual subject, digital marketing, social selling, finance, and a lot of things that will help an SME to sustain, to grow. So, if you wanted to ask us any question, feel free to ask us through the comment box, and I will add our special guest today, Michael Stan. He is the founder of Uniflow, but he will introduce himself. Thank you very much, Michael, for your contribution as you are contributing many of our live webinar. I'm really thankful to you, and I'm learning a lot of things from you. So that's why I'm bringing you all the time for our audience, for them to understand finance, because that's a core thing before you jump into business, to understand your finance. So, Michael, the floor is yours.
Yay! Hi, Zach. Thank you very much for having me, as always. My name is Michael Stan. I'm the founder of Uniflow, as you mentioned already. Just to give you a quick idea, why am I here and not someone else? I have over 10 years of experience in financial industry, from 5 years as a financial advisor, and then around 4 years as an accountant and bookkeeper. I was also running my own business previously that failed miserably, actually because of the financial problems, because of lack of financial education. And yes, I was a financial advisor. I should have that, but that wasn't the case. They taught me how to sell financial products, but not really how to manage my money and how to really look at my money. And so I have all of those experiences, and that's why I'm here, I guess. Shah, I think we cannot.
I just muted myself. I muted myself. Yes, because your financial backbone becomes stronger and stronger by facing enormous problem, isn't it? And that's why you become solid. And you brought this Uniflow application. I know it. I am using it. So great invention will never happen unless you have some problems. That's the way. That's the way, isn't it? So um, can you tell our audience a bit more about your innovation and how it can support individual, like personal as well as businesses? Um,
Yeah,
to
100%. So for me, the big misconception that is happening at the moment on the financial market with all of the financial solutions that you have is that all of those solutions are reacting to what you are doing. So you spend money, they tell you how much you spent, and they even categorize all of your spending, right?
Yes.
But all of those solutions are missing one big problem, is to how to prepare those people, all of those, the society, to maybe plan their finances, how prepare them for that spending, how to tell them whether they can or cannot spend, whether they can afford different spendings. And because of that lack of knowledge on the people side, a lot of people are going into debt. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck, and they don't know why they don't have money at the end of the month. Like all of those solutions that are at the market at the moment are unfortunately doesn't help people in seeing the future. And so because I couldn't find that kind of solution for myself when I was in debt. I after after losing my company, I end up in huge debt, and I didn't know really what to do. So I started looking for different solutions on the market to help me figure out how to get out of the debt. When will I get out of the debt? But there was nothing like that. There was nothing that will really very cheaply, I would say, help me manage my finances, help me plan my finances so I can actually see where will I be in the much better position, and I will actually see whether I can spend on certain things, going on holidays, doing Christmas, whether I can afford those stuff.
Mm,
And because that solution didn't exist, well, I started planning how I can do it. So the
mhm,
innovation over here is really simple in terms of the front end of it, because instead of reacting to what the users or what the people are doing,
mhm.
we're actually allowing people to see their future before it actually happens.
Yes.
And so that's first, probably one of the simplest innovations that could be done in the financial market, that I believe personally, or I know it's changed my life or my perspective on how I look at my finances. And I
Mhm,
know that it will change the perspective of everyone who's gonna use that application, because it just shows you the different perspective of how you could spend money or whether you can spend money. So it
mhm,
shows you different perspective on money in general. And so that's the simplest innovation that we did. But I think what's the most important in the whole technology that we are building in Uniflow is the decentralization of the data.
mhm,
I believe that, at the moment, all of the data that we have are stored by big, huge organizations, by banks, by
mhm,
governments. And all of those organizations are storing those data centrally.
mhm.
And the problem with that is that there is a lot of cybercrime around the world, and those companies doesn't have any repercussions after losing our data. But if that happens, what you get, Shah? You get spam emails, spam calls. Um, in some cases, people are going into your bank accounts and like stealing the money. And so that's a huge problem
Mhm.
in the market. And I feel like all of the data should be decentralized just for the sake of security.
Mhm.
The other thing is that even those companies are storing the data and managing the data for people and have no repercussions, they have all of the profits
Yes.
of using and storing the data and using the data for their advantage. But
Yes.
we, as owners of the data, we have ground zero.
Mhm.
And so that's the second innovation that we are introducing into Uniflow on both the business product and individual product,
Mhm.
where we do not store any personal data, so we cannot lose that data. Okay.
Okay.
And so once people will understand the power of like decentralization, the power of self-sovereign identities and storing the data for yourself, and they will understand how the data can be used for their advantage, I think the way how we live and how we interact with those big companies will change drastically as well. And so we have two different parts, two different innovations, and that's what I believe
Mhm.
in terms of like the future of technology will change in the in the next few years.
I totally agree with you, Michael. It's changing. Um, as a data scientist myself, working with data mining applications as well as AI, it is now very difficult to see how your data is utilized. And you know that there are a lot of big cases uh, uh, with Facebook and other airlines, hotels, that your data is stolen data breach, NHS, and a lot of individual things we are seeing that okay, your data is not safe, and it there is a breach, and you have to safeguard yourself. How important it is nowadays to safeguard your data? That is my first questions. And in terms of your application, you say that you're not storing data for your application. How you um, confirm or assure our audience that you are not one of those companies. They are saying something and doing something else.
Well, the only way to prove it would be to actually show you the database,
Mhm,
I guess. Um, but yeah, all of the data at the moment that are yours are yours. We're storing them on your devices.
mhm.
And so, because the technology is very new, at the moment we also have no option for you to actually, if you lose access to the application, you don't have an option to get back all of that data. You will have to, gather data from other sources and put them back again.
Okay.
So I think that's the only way I can sort of say and prove to you that we do not store that data.
Mhm,
In terms of how important it is, well, let's think of that.
mhm.
We have we're speaking on LinkedIn at the moment, right? And
Yes.
we have that webinar through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is at the moment one of the largest companies in the world. They have over 1 billion users. I think they reached that 6 months ago.
Mhm.
And in 2021, LinkedIn and Facebook together, they lost data of 1.1 billion users.
Okay.
And so all of those users' data were literally sent to someone else because of that cyber attack. And you can only think that, a lot of cybersecurity money is put into those large companies, but still those cyber attacks are happening on the yearly basis. There are
Mhm.
companies who have cybersecurity attacks all the time.
Yes.
And because they don't have any repercussions, they show that they have cybersecurity team, but still nothing, don't do anything. And then at the end of the day, like I said before, you see spam emails, you see spam calls all the time from different places that you've never shared your data with. You lose money, you ending up in debt because of the loss of your identity, because
Mhm,
at the moment all of that data is really your identity. So people who want to scam you, they build in your profile and they literally do whatever they want, just knowing few informations that those large companies or small one
mhm.
are losing. Like, I think UK government last year said that over 50, not over 53% of the small and medium companies had the data breach in the last year.
Ah.
Okay, the problem is huge.
Mhm,
um, and unfortunately nowadays we do not have tools that would allow us to take the control of our data. We
mhm,
don't have tools that will enable people to make sure that they know where the data is, what is going in it, how it's used, and yeah, make money of it if they want to.
I understand.
So I also think that a lot of people, because we don't have those tools, a lot of people doesn't think of it because they cannot do anything, right?
Yes.
Because there is no option for us at the moment to manage our data. People just let it be and left it because literally we cannot do anything about it. And if you think of it, money is part of the data. And
Mhm,
so that's why we connected those two words, because it makes sense to connected them. If your identity sort of is based on your money and it's based on your data. If you want to go on holidays, let's say, you need what? You need money and you need your identity, right? If you want to buy a car, you need money, and usually you need also identify yourself for the agreement purposes. You want to rent a car, it's all the same scenario. You know what I'm where I'm getting, right?
Yes.
And so gathering the data for yourself and having it in the secure place and owning it by yourself, from my perspective, extremely important.
Yes, I know. It's always been a critical thing to talk about your data. Sometimes some people they don't understand that. Yes, I have publicly available information. That is my data. You see LinkedIn or Facebook or any other social media. They we don't think as a user that this data is valuable because why we don't see that? Probably we don't have the understanding that okay it is valuable because when you see people average user class maybe lower class or middle class communities if we level that way uh, they don't have money and when you have no money how the data could be valuable they don't understand it apart from people they are educated and they understand about data they understand about data aware about data uh, so you know this data and the data mismatch and the value of individual person's data um, on your opinion uh, if I give my example um, why my public information is valuable why I need to say safeguard my public information
Well,
because it's already public.
it some of the information is already public, but not all of it, right? Like your behaviors, like
Hmm.
what you like, what you don't like,
Hmm.
whether you I
Hmm.
don't know, like cats or dogs.
Hmm.
It's very important for those people because they know how to get to you. Um,
Hmm.
and so yeah, so maybe some of your informations like name, maybe your email address is probably on LinkedIn available as well, and that's cool. But phone number, I don't know. Bank account details,
No.
not necessarily.
Yeah.
So because of all of the data, then they can call you and they can get more data from you, or they can send you an email and get all of the data. And yeah, it's just I feel like having an email address is a different problem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because to our audience, I just wanted to remind you today we have Michael Stan from Uniflow, and I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Zenzi Marketing. We are discussing how you can improve your finance without zero knowledge. And we're talking about data, we talk about finance. And if you wanted to ask us any question, feel free to ask us through the comment box. We will try to answer your question. But before we jump into the finance, as we are talking about data, I just wanted to elaborate you with some more information that why it is valuable because um, we Michael was talking that okay you have publicly available information uh, is it valuable yes it is valuable because any information like we are talking about our buying behaviors so I will give an example so when you talk on the mobile maybe you're talking to your husband wife or partner or anyone in the next sequence if you go to Google if you go to Facebook if you go to any other application you will see the similar ads so that is data because they are capturing because we gave permission to these application that they can access they can have these things embedded and you will see that they're selling you something because as a human being we have to live isn't it and for living what we do a lot of individual things, isn't it? We go for shopping, we buy things, we go to the bank, and a lot of individual tasks we do, and all of those things is data, and they are available. Michael, can you elaborate it a little bit more? or
Yeah, I think one big point in this one as well is, at the end of the day,
Mhm.
even your voice, right? Like you
Yeah,
said, you're talking over the phone. Even your voice is your data.
yeah,
As and in the market where the AI is coming in, I or saw yesterday even the post that they were saying that more and more people um, are being taught how to talk to their children and have like safe words, because AI that is developed to cheat people, literally, well, it's not developed for that purpose, but it's used for that purpose,
mhm,
is used more and more, and a lot of scammers are unfortunately very successful by using someone else's voice.
yes,
And when we are coming to that era of AI and using the voice, using the face, and
mhm,
a lot of security systems that are in
mhm,
place need to obviously have really quick upgrade, because
mhm,
come on, like, you can create fake faces at the moment that are almost unrecognizable. You can create videos that are almost unrecognizable from not AI, right?
yes,
And so once we're coming to those AI, to that AI era, it's going to be even more difficult to protect ourselves from it. And so even if you're gonna lose your name or surname to someone else, that may have huge impact to how the data will be used.
mhm,
Like someone can use, your image, grab it with your name, and let's say they can create the fake video of you, how you talking to someone, and who knows what they can steal from you, right? They
yes,
can pretend that you are you by cloning your voice and knowing some of the informations from social media about you, and get a loan,
mhm,
based on that. Obviously, it's not as easy as I'm presenting it now, but it's becoming more and more easier. And so that's why I feel like we do need new, completely brand new system that will, first of all, be fully decentralized, but second of all, be fully controlled by by the people, by the users of that system,
yes,
not that by the centralized entities. And so Uniflow is a company, but our goal is to actually fully decentralize everything that we can, which is your Shah as well identities, your
mhm,
money, and all of the other data that you might think of will be fully decentralized, will be fully owned, and as well the goal of the the business is to allow people to make decisions about the business
mhm,
based on their thoughts. If they would like to change something, they can just request that. If they would like to, update certain things or have new things in the whole system, they can just request it and vote on those. And then, as a community of people who actually have ownership of the data and can make better decisions about their futures, um, yeah, they can build really the society from the beginning, I would say.
thank you, Michael. So, to our audience, today we are talking on financial stabilities for personal and business. We're going to jump into the next segment of our live.
Yeah, we
Before I
went a
jump
little
to
bit
the
more too much into that data, huh?
yes, so I think we had enough conversation. Why data is very important because you need to know before we jump into finance because finance is as well as data. Because without data we cannot survive, we cannot sustain nowadays, isn't it? So um, better health related to data, better finances related to data, better decision making, all related to data nowadays. And you cannot if you're wearing a wearable device or a watch or maybe a headphones for better performance, uh, they keep tracking data, and these small bits and pieces are your data. and they are valuable because the society, the innovator or big corporations or the people they are in commerce, they like this data and they wanted to sell you their
Just as a
products.
last bit of the information about the data, and we can move forward, is that, for example, in the USA, you can, on the black market, you can buy one piece of data for $5.
Hmm.
And in terms of the US economy, there is 95% of people who live in USA, their data at the moment is for sale for $5 per piece.
Okay, you understand how important data is. So we will not talk about data anymore. We will jump into the finance.
Yeah.
And to our audience, if you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to ask us through the comment box. And today I have Michael Stan from Uniflow, and I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui from Zenzi Marketing. Zenzi Marketing specializes in social selling and end-to-end digital marketing. So we support individual businesses, and we work with a framework, and we support you to sort your social media out and create authority. So if you wanted to contact us directly, feel free to contact Michael for anything related to finance. And if you wanted to contact me for marketing and any other strategic development, feel free to contact me through social media, LinkedIn, and email, or you can DM me as well. So we will jump into the financial overview. So you know that you build this application for financial, for personal uses as well as business uses. Um, why a person should understand his personal and business strength uh, before they carry out any activities? Why it is important?
Um, why is it important to understand finances
Yes,
before having any
before they,
activities?
yes.
Um, I think the easiest way of thinking of that is we're living in the economy that is run by money.
Yes.
You cannot, like I previously said, you cannot do almost anything
Mhm.
without having money, right? And so I feel like, as I said at the beginning, at the moment, everyone is reacting to what they're doing instead of preventing the things that can happen.
Mhm.
And a lot of people doesn't prepare themselves for what can happen. They rather, like I said, react to what is already happened. And I feel if I would have the knowledge that I have now,
Mhm.
my business previously wouldn't end up where it went up, which is obviously in the ground.
Mhm.
I wouldn't end up in debt. I would make so much better financial, but also life decisions,
Mhm.
because I would know exactly where am I going and how much I can afford.
Mhm.
And so having the financial knowledge, whether it's in the individual lives or in the business, well,
Mhm.
again, it's crucial. We are living in the world that is run by money.
Yes.
Um, you need to have money to live. Whether it's a good thing or bad thing, it's a different conversation. But you need to have money to sustain your life. You can go live on the street and don't eat, which would be, not the best scenario, but it is possible. But you would still need the money to buy yourself food. Again,
Yes.
someone can argue you can grow your food, but then you need to have the land to grow your food. So then you need to have money. So
Yes.
I think I established that we are living in the economy
Mhm.
that is run by money. And so at the moment of me talking right now, over 95% of people between 24 and 35 um, are in debt. And the reason behind that is lack of, first of all, financial education
Mhm.
very early in the schools. The second part is that people just are not aware whether they can spend today, and whether those decisions today, how they will influence the future. And
Mhm.
so me personally, I probably cannot much influence the educational system, or it would be very difficult to do it. But going with the application to the public that everyone can access regardless whether they're in school or not in school, it's something that I can do and I want to do, and I did.
Hmm.
And if I can help, you know one person to actually change and shift their perspective on how to get out of debt, how to stop living paycheck to paycheck, how to make better financial decisions, and if I can at least help one business to not end up in debt or like not end up in the ground just by helping them through our software managing their finances and seeing the future of their finances and seeing the effects of every single decision that they make today, that will make my day or even a year. Because I feel like this is a really missing piece of the information that people don't have. They don't know the impact of their financial decisions tomorrow.
Understand, because
Yeah.
when working with SMEs and also working with as I support neurodivergent community through my social incubations, I found that people usually they don't think about finance, um, and they don't think that the understanding finance would be a valuable thing to do. So um, when I see
I was
people,
one of them. Sorry. I was one
yes,
of them.
yes, I was. Me too. Me too. I was one of them as well. But I realized learning my mistakes. But majority of our people in the UK, um, um, they don't understand the core motivation, and some of our community people they are engaged in they are getting benefits. So the money they are getting, they spend them all,
Yeah.
and they are in debt sometimes as well,
Very often.
because unplanned work, unplanned
Expenses.
as expenses. So in that circumstances, how your software will support these communities, like um, yes, I'm on benefit, or maybe I'm on a small job. I don't earn less than more than 21,000, sometimes 20,000. I think the so how your app can help these people, and as well as if you can let our audience know which categorical people or which level peoples will be mostly benefited from your software.
Yeah, so that's where I wanted to actually start from answering your question.
Hmm.
And that's the one that I get a lot. I don't have money,
Hmm.
so I don't need to manage my money. Right?
Yes,
That's the such a huge misconception that
yes.
you it's just every single time I get this, I'm like fuming because it's ridiculous. If you don't have money, that's even more time when you need to manage that money because you need to know what's going on.
Yes.
If you have a lot of money, why would you really care whether you're gonna spend, £5 here and £5 here?
Hmm.
You're gonna be able to survive till the end of the month. If you
Yes.
don't have money, that's the exact point in time where you should think about those finances and you should think how you survive till
Mhm.
the end of the month.
Yes.
And so that was the core idea of building the consumer, like the application for individuals, was to help those people who doesn't have a lot of money of income, um, and they overspending on different things.
Hmm.
Okay, one thing is obviously to show them how they spend, but the other thing is to prepare them and show them how they maybe could limit their spending or cut their cost or maybe increase their income. Another thing is, a lot of the people that we are targeting, that we are going to help, is people in debt. And like I said, 95% people in UK between age of 24 and 35 have consumer debt that is not mortgage.
Hmm.
So the the amount of people, I think the amount of people that goes into that 95%, it's 24 million people in UK at
Mm-hmm.
the moment is living paycheck to paycheck, or has debt. Okay, and so we build the application specifically for those people who doesn't have money,
Mm-hmm.
for those people who need to know whether they can spend today or not. Because, like I said, if you do have money, if you are wealthy,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really need to think of those things. You don't need to really manage your money. You can, even though you can go financial advisor, pay them 150 an hour because you can afford it, and they
Mm-hmm.
will do all of the stuff for you.
Yes.
That's why I called the Uniflow, on a side, I called it financial planner in your pocket, financial advisor in your pocket, because it's really like having a financial advisor in your pocket all the time, 24 hours, that will tell you, can I spend it? Or will actually, if I spend today, at the end of the month, I will have, X amount of money below, I will go into overdraft, which is not obviously the best scenario. And again, you cannot predict all of the stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but being prepared for usual things, it's better than not being prepared at all.
Yes.
So yeah, the people that can use the app, I believe we build it in the very easy and step by step way. So every single person who doesn't have a lot of money, or is on benefits, or is working part-time work job, they can do it. You don't need any financial knowledge. You just need probably around 15-20 minutes of your time to
Mm-hmm.
just go there and just set it up.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. That was really thoughtful. And to our audience, if you have any question, please feel free to access through the comment box. And you are watching our live from Gen Z Marketing, and I have Michael Stan, and I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui. So we are talking about finance today. We talk about data. We are talking about finance. So if you wanted to try Michael's Uniflow application that is available on
Apple and Google Store,
Apple
yes.
and Google Store,
And just
and
one thing, if
mhm,
someone would like to use it fully for free with all of the functionalities for lifetime,
mhm.
like just message me on LinkedIn, and I will guide you how to do it.
That's really fascinating to our audience. So if you wanted to have the access for lifetime, please feel free to contact Michael, and he will support you without any expenses. So that's a good thing. So if you wanted to download his application, it is on App Store and Google Play Store. You can download it directly
For free.
and for free. And if you wanted to ask us any question, please feel free to ask us question through the comment box, and we will try to answer you all your inquiries. Before I jump to the next segment, um, I remind you that we will have a few more episodes with Michael in next couple of months. So we will talk about finance. And we wanted to do a webinar with understanding SME or startups. If you are a startup, if you wanted to understand the value of your startup, we're going to be launching our campaign very soon. That okay, you understand your startup, and you understand the value of your startup, and you go to finance people, or you go to VC capital, or you wanted to raise finance, you can do that. So Michael is the person, and we're going to be stick with him for many years to come and support our audience with finances, and as well as technology, as well as understanding your data and so on. So Michael, you know that building financial security is core motive of your application, as well as you simplify finances um, through specific your software management and a lot of other things. So can you let our audience know that maybe the most effective, specifically the functionalities that they can experience by Uniflow?
Yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll start from my favorite one, which a lot of people, it's my favorite. Personally, it's my favorite one. Is the functionality that allows you to see how many days you have to run out of money. And why this is my favorite one?
Mhm.
It's my favorite one because if I know that I have, let's say, I have enough money for 90 days,
Mhm.
or I have enough money for 120 days,
Mhm.
then I can make some life decisions. Like, let's say I hate my job, right? I really don't like my boss, and I would like to, I don't know, go on holidays for a month, or I would like to just change the job, and
Mhm.
I'm not really sure whether I can afford it. And so
Mhm.
that feature allows you to now know. You can know how many days you have, so you can plan whether you are comfortable to leave your job, let's say, or change the trajectory of your life and move it to something else. Because you see that you have, okay, I have 4 months of money, I have 5 months of money, I believe that I can find new job or like get new skills within a month to three, and then find new job. So that's, I think, one of my favorite features, which a lot of people are missing. um, but yeah, so that's one. The second one, I think, is just possibility of seeing how much money I will have in the future. So like knowing that at the end of the year, I will have X amount of money, let's say £5,000 on my saving account, I will have £2,000 on my main account, and I will go down with debt, uh, let's say by £2,000. So I will have £2,000 less in debt. So that's the second part, because it gives me some motivation to move forward, to like go to somewhere. Because I see right now my savings are, let's say, £2,500. But then at the end of the year, even with all of the stuff that I want to do, like going on holidays, do Christmas,
Mhm.
pay for all of the gifts for my family, with all of those expenses that every single person have during the year, I will still at the end of the year have £5,000. It's not like, oh, I want to have that. It's like, I will have that. So I think that's the second, my favorite functionality, that is just
Mhm.
showing you the future, showing you what you can achieve based on what you are actually doing. Um, the third part, the third functionality that we have is debt management. So every single person can go, put how much debt they have,
Mhm.
and see whether or not, or not see, find out which debt is better to be paid first, which debt is better to be second.
Mhm.
And we are at the moment in the actually process to automating it, so to help those users to actually make the decision at the end of the day, and
Mhm.
also maybe utilize those debts, so consolidate them. So that's something that we are working on. But like debt management, for me, it's a third feature that I love. I really think will help a lot of people. The fourth feature, I don't know whether there is some limit of features that I love.
Mhm. No, 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 that's fine. So, as we're talking about debt, and we have a question from Asama. Thank you, Asama, for these questions. And you probably answer a little bit of these questions. That what is the most effective way to deal with debt and with your application? So, if I am a newcomer and I don't understand your application properly and I don't have any knowledge of debt management, how you support your end user with that?
Yeah, so the first step to any situation in that is to recognize what kind of debts you have.
Mhm.
Okay, so recognize how much of it is there,
Mhm.
and what's the interest rates on those debts, and whether what you can do with it, because sometimes you can have, credit cards, you can have loans, sometimes you can have credit lines. There is
Mhm.
a lot of financial products that different people, different situations will have. You can have also loans from families and friends that maybe doesn't require paying straight away because they don't have much interest rates, which
Mhm.
in my opinion they should, but that's another story.
Mhm.
um, so it always depends on the situation, right? But there are really few different ways, regardless of the situation, you can approach. You
Mhm.
can either pay off the highest interest rate debt first,
Mhm.
and that's called like avalanche method.
Mhm.
So you pay your highest interest rates first, and that will get you as quick as possible to the zero.
Mhm.
Or you pay off the lowest debt first, not interest rate, but the lowest debt,
Mhm.
and that's called snowball effect, the method.
Mhm.
And it just gives you the feeling of accomplishment much earlier, because you're not tackling the biggest interest rates regardless of the amount. You're tackling first the smallest debt that you can pay off. So you're paying off the debt, that smallest debt, very well quickly. That's the goal. And then you have that feeling of accomplishment to move you to another debt. But that's the disadvantage of that method, is that at the end of the day you will pay a little bit more for the total of your debts. But again, the first and the most important part of managing your debt is to figure out how much of the debt you have in the first place, what's the interest rates, and once you have that, to figure out, what's the minimal payment and what you can do with all of that stuff, and whether you can afford to pay off all of those things. So that would be the first step.
Mhm.
Then the second step would be to figure out whether you can either prolong the payments, whether you can message those people who you own money to maybe forget the loans. A lot of people doesn't realize that very often you can actually send different messages to those people that you own money, and try to figure out the ways to pay it off, or like minimize the debt. Because at the end of the day, the people who are on the other side, they want money back, and
Yeah.
any money for them is better than zero. So those negotiations very often are very, very, very important. So that would be the second stage. There
Mhm.
are also, in different countries, there are different ways of going for it.
Mhm.
But the third thing, which I would advise at the very end,
Mhm.
would be just go bankrupt,
Okay.
because it's a long process. But it's just, if you feel like you will never get there to the point, if it's gonna take you more than 5-6 years to pay off all of your consumer debts, and I'm not talking about mortgage, but if it's gonna take you more than 5-6 years to do that, the bankruptcy is, I think it's better than just dealing with all of that stuff, because at the end of the day your credit score will be broken for 5 years, but
Mhm.
you will be debt free, and from the year one. And that will bring so much, calm and like peacefulness to your life. um yeah, that's what I would say as a third and the last step, if you really cannot figure out how to pay off all of your debts.
Thank you, Michael. We're enjoying your session as usual. So, to our audience, if you wanted to access any question, feel free to access through the comment box. And we have another question from Farooq Hussain. And can we do our financial planning for our startup with your application?
Well, so Uniflow has two different products. I think we mentioned that at the beginning, right? So we have two different products. One is for individuals to, it's a financial planner in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is for those startups, small businesses to
Mm-hmm.
actually, whether you're running already business or just planning to run
Mm-hmm.
the business, that tool for small businesses is exactly for that preparation to open your business or to create that financial model without any financial skills, so you can see whether the business makes sense. So there
Mm-hmm.
are few major points in that business financial planning that our
Mm-hmm.
software is actually providing.
Yes.
um, and like you mentioned already, Shah, in the near future we would like to do a webinar or workshops actually from utilizing one of those features. And I think a lot of businesses at the moment is struggling with establishing whether how much money their business is worth, so the valuation of the business. But I feel also a lot of startup owners or like small business owners who just planning to start are not validating the, the business model
Mm-hmm.
soon enough. So they don't know whether what they're gonna sell will be actually profitable in the future, whether that will require more cost than it will provide the revenues.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do have that software that is fully free for small business owners or startups to plan their finances, um, and to see again to prepare themselves for the future. There are 6 7 main things that the startups owners will be able to do. One of them, like I mentioned already before, is to pinpoint profitable products or services. Find out whether that service or product makes sense, whether it will actually make money. The other thing would be to say that you can forecast cash flow and avoid any surprises in the future as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see and you can find out whether you know whether you will have money for all of the stuff 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, you can find out whether or how much money you would need to
Mm-hmm.
raise, because a lot of businesses at the early stage is trying to reach finances, reach investments. So based on all of the stuff, we can provide you with exactly how much money you will need to raise in the year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, so all of that stuff will validate your business idea, will tell you whether you can afford it, whether it makes sense to actually go with this, and at the end of the day we can provide you with the business valuation. Right now we are working to provide business valuation in 4 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so once that's finished, we will, Shah, hopefully we're gonna promote the workshop, so we can all go there and just figure out, or
Mm-hmm.
like I can show all of the people who will join how to actually use all of the different ways of evaluating the business, because I think there's at least 6 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and that they are main, but there is way more, and they are dependent on whether you are actually starting now or whether you are actually already running your business.
Thank you, Michael. Such insightful information. And to our audience, if you are listening and watching this webinar, feel free to access any question you have through the comment box, and we will try to answer your question. We are nearly end of our session. We just have a few more minutes left, and we're going to talk more about finance. Before I jump to my next questions, I just wanted to ask you, please, if you have any inquiry, please feel free to contact Michael directly. If you are an SME and you need financial advice, Michael is the right person to do so. And if you want a free lifetime software license from Michael, please feel free to download the application or contact him directly, because you need it for your personal use or you need it for your business use. It's out there, and I'm using it for myself, and many other people are using it for themselves. So right now, if you are there, please download the application and start using it, because you need to deal with your finance. As a SME business person, I did not understood finance very well beforehand. and as well as when I was running my startup, I did have problem with my finance and doing business as well as education and PhD at the same time. I did struggle, but um, if I would have Michael that time, I wouldn't struggle because uh, I will know, I will learn the financial stability that I needed to do that time. But as I said, we learn from our mistakes. I learned from my mistakes as Michael did the same thing. But uh, it's better to have a financial advisor with you rather than struggling because you might face enormous difficulties. You might have to liquidate your company, or you might go for bankruptcy. But before you deal with those kind of thing, it is better to understand your finance and do the rightful things that you have to do. I know we plan, we think that we will get money and so quickly. But when you are in a business, money will not come so quickly. You will be very fortunate if you start earning from the next day of your business. If it is a technology business, it is not a food business. Yes, if you start a grocery shop or if you have a restaurant, the day you will you will start earning some money, but it takes time. It takes time for a business to start earning at least 3 times for 3 years for maturity, and then to break even, sometimes even 5 years. So you have to struggle, and you have to have a financial backbone to survive.
I
So
mean, so sorry for interrupting, but
yeah,
that's why so many small businesses are, losing at the end of the day because they weren't prepared for how long it takes to open and run the business. They were thinking, okay, 3 months, 6 months, it's gonna be fine. But then at the end of the day, over 50% of businesses, small businesses, are closing down just because of the cash flow issues, just because of the money issues, and because they never thought about this. They didn't prepare themselves properly.
mhm.
um, and so if you are aware of all of those stuff, it's much easier because then you can adjust the outcomes, right? Because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what's going to happen along the way.
Yeah, because I did not have knowledge of this kind of application before. You probably done your research before you start this application, and there are rarely any system available. So it's better if you are thinking to start your business. To our audience, please feel free to check Uniflow. Because when you start your business, it will be too late to understand your finance because you have to self-fund it, or you will get funding from friends, family, or maybe a small funding from a director level person investing to the business. But if you don't plan it properly, at some point you will stuck, and if you're stuck, there isn't anyone else to come and support you. So understand your finance and then start a business that you can survive and sustain properly. So we have today Michael Stan from Uniflow, and I'm Dr. Shah Siddiqui. We are nearly end of our session. I wanted to ask Michael if you have a closing remarks and maybe a overview at the end, the takeaway from this session.
I think we said a lot of things today, and the only thing is that if you need financial help,
Mhm,
just ask for it.
mhm,
There is, there is no better way to actually get some help
mhm,
by asking. If you're not gonna ask, you will never receive, right?
mhm,
And so, like I said, if any one of the people needs some financial advice or like help with the software, but I think the software is quite easy. At least it was done like this. Just just message me. I'm more than happy to chat to anyone, for however long they need,
mhm.
and to, yeah, to get to know them. And I would wish that people really treat their finances a little bit more seriously, and their data as well.
Mhm. So thank you, Michael, and thank you to our audience. You have spent an hour with us, and it's I really grateful for to all of you, and we will come back to our next session on next Friday with a different topic. So, Michael, thank you very much for your time today with us. So, to audience, if you wanted to support us, please like and share our page and our program. We will bring individual people, business owners, as well as business developers, as well as a lot of other things with Zenzi Marketing. And I run regular show each Friday from my software development as well, business development, software development, digital marketing. So if you wanted to support us, please feel free to support us through social media, through LinkedIn. And if you wanted to access any question, feel free to ask through a DM or through social media. We will try to sort or try to help you or signpost you the relevant people or relevant company. So I will welcome you next week again with another episode of weekly webinar. Until then, stay tuned and be safe. Uh, we will see you next week. Thank you very much, and bye bye.